and the devil, who was misleading him, was hurled into the lake of fire, where both of the wild beasts and the false prophet already were, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Please, tell me your story. I'd rather not. God damn it, you've been coming to me for 6 months. Tell me your story. This was no ordinary sound. Yeah, I told myself that it's just nothing, just some kids playing around with a cat. Or some rats within the walls. But I don't have rats. I instantly heard the noise and I locked the door. After I locked the door, I slowly got in bed. And the noise continued. It got louder and louder, as if the noise was right in my ear. And as the noise is getting louder and louder, it stopped. And then the door opened. But how can it open? I locked it. The only way you can open it is from the inside. He was already in that room. I looked up. I saw this figure with eyes big as the moon, with a smile like the jackal, teeth wider than paste. He was standing in front of me, clear as day as I see you. I tried to close my eyes as if the pain would go away, hopefully, but as soon as I closed my eyes, it was broad daylight. He was gone. When was the last time this occurred? This morning. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is based off the children's book that compiles a bunch of scary stories that's good to tell in the dark, and also these stories is good to tell on the big screen. This movie centers around some young kids on Halloween night as they break into a house owned by Sarah Bellows. Legend says before her death, Sarah Bellows wrote a book, and in the stories that she wrote caused a lot of people to die. So practically she had the death note. So while these kids was wandering around in this desolated dark house, they discover a book which once was owned by Sarah Bellows, and they took that book, and then creepy things start to occur, and we have the movie Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Now, I haven't read any other stories or anything like that because my parents were Jehovah's Witnesses and they didn't believe in that kind of thing. But I still went to public school and I went to the library, and at that library they did have Goosebumps. And while I was reading the Goosebumps books, that made me a fan of horror. And I haven't looked back ever since. After leaving the theater, I have to say I was completely satisfied because the performances in this movie was excellent to the core. Like the main stars of this movie, they're played by a bunch of kids. These kids were asked to do a lot in this movie. The whole entire movie revolves around them, and they had the most screen time. And also the kids did a good job of delivering emotional scenes when the scenes demand the characters to show emotion. And there was like a little bit of character development in this movie. Not a lot of character development, but for horror films, you shouldn't really expect character development to be all up in your face. This film does a fantastic job of building up tension, like to the point where you, the audience, will feel that tension, and you'll be at the edge of your seat at that moment because you're just like, ah! Especially when you're watching a horror film, you want to be at the edge of your seat. You want to feel that thrill. You want to bite your nails. You want to feel your skin crawl. You really want the hair on the back of your neck and the hair on your ass cheeks to really stand up. And I'm telling you, if you're going through that experience of watching a horror film, you are definitely going to get your money's worth. And you definitely get your money's worth with this one. Like I said before, the performances was excellent, and that led into the tension building, and the tension building led into the creatures and the monsters that terrorize the kids in this movie. And I have to say that the monster designs is identical to the designs in the children's book. So if you read the books, you're going to be satisfied with the designs of the creatures in the source material. The monsters look scary as fuck, and they looked real with practical effects, even though they used some of the CGI, but you can tell they mostly use practical effects. And one of the things that Guillermo del Toro always loved doing, he always putting like prosthetic and using more practical effects in the horror elements in his movies. This is not Guillermo del Toro's movies. He only did the story of this film, but still some of the character designs, it still has that Guillermo del Toro feel to it. Another surpriser that surprised me in this movie was the pacing in this movie. The movie was 90 minutes long, and I didn't feel like the movie was boring or anything. There wasn't a moment where I felt like my ass cheeks was sore. I was really into this movie from start to finish, and I think one of the best qualities that they did in this movie was like have its characters feel like they're racing against time. Periodically in the movie, after they got the book, the book will activate by opening itself up and writing a story on its own. And when the book is writing by itself, it's basically telling a story for a future character's demise. Characters find out who the character is, they gotta race against time, and that's when the tension builds up. And that's when I'm completely invested into the scene. Another thing I like about this movie was the jump scare and the jump sequences. There were some jump scare scenes and some scare sequences that went with each character on emotional levels separately. Sort of like James Wan style in the Conjuring films, where Vera Farmiga was in the basement and there was an emotional scare sequence revolving around her character and Valley. As a whole, this movie has some terrific performances from the main cast, and it also has some good lighting, good special effects and practical effects. The creatures look awesome as hell. They look scary. I did like the jump scares. I did like the jump sequences, but there was a few problems I had with it, and that has to do with the tone with the movie. Watching this movie, it does feel like it's like It and Goosebumps put together because of the story. The story gives the audience a weird, dark tone, as if it could be rated R, because there are some nasty and gross sequences in this movie that I feel like it could have gone to rated R rating, but they just kept it clean and kept it PG-13. And another small nitpick I have with the movie is the preparation of each jump scare. Like, the director did a good job on the jump scares, but I felt like the preparation leading up to the jump scare reveal took too long to develop. It's when he builds up the jump scare by using no noise, and then he reveals the jump scare with a bang. But with this movie, he builds up the jump scare, but it's for a long period of time. And then while it's silent too long, I'm just like... Other than that, I was invested in this movie. I enjoyed myself. I was entertained. It had some very good jump scares. You're going to get your money's worth. You're going to enjoy this film. This film was accurate on the source material, especially on the creature designs. Yes, take your family and go see this movie. You're going to enjoy yourself, or take a date, take your boyfriend if you're watching this video, or take your girlfriend if you're watching this video. Go take your significant other to this movie. They're going to enjoy themselves. So I'm going to have to give Scary Stories to Tell, a Christian Bale Batman. I'm going to buy this movie on Blu-ray. So guys, have you seen Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? What are your thoughts? And tell me your scary story below. So if you like everything you see and you agree, subscribe to my channel and join me in the Batman family. I'll have more Batman-tastic reviews in the way. You have been scared. Till then, ciao.